All right, welcome in everybody. Your founder creator, TCP SuperSystem on the screen. Bitcoin coming in 94,736 on this beautiful night, April 29th. A couple things to note real fast. Fiat link in the bottom right corner, just for fun. You can see right now, for example, Bitcoin, a bunch of other ones coming in. But tonight's going to be a really quick one. Got 4 alerts as part of our daily crypto alert show. And actually, it's going to be stocks today, but not crypto. So we'll go over those charts real fast. And want to show you some quick news before we do that we shared on our LinkedIn page that we'll go through pretty quick here. Then we'll look at those 4 alerts, look at the charts, interpret our system for you, and we will move on. Key reminder. I bring this system to you for free. Spent 2 to 3 years building this thing so I could share it with my community. And I use this thing to generate alpha returns that far exceed the market and the 7% most people are excited to get. Help me keep this thing free. Please like, share, and subscribe. That's all I've asked. I share the alerts really first in Patreon, and then every night I'll go through this, or most nights I'll go through the alerts I received for the day, share my interpretations. With that said, I'd have to say none of it's financial advice. Just sharing signals and interpretations to help you identify areas of opportunity. But it's your choice, your research, your decision when and how you invest your own money. All right, LinkedIn. On the screen, you're going to see, and actually this is a good point. So on the screen, you'll see we posted our second training video today. That covers our hot sensors. We have just started doing our 3-part series. Video 1 was yesterday, which covered the main indicator. Video 2 was tonight, covering the hot sensors. Video 3 will be tomorrow, covering the mean reversion data. And then we'll probably do a wrap-up video that'll kind of show you the whole entire system together, and we'll show you examples, and then we'll continue to post trades and examples of how you can leverage this system to make massive returns. And then we also have free opportunities you can get through our Patreon page to get one-on-one access, where we can look at whatever crypto or equity that you want to. Some free, some paid for, so check that out. All the socials are on the screen. So yeah, check them out. All right. So here's one from Cointelegraph I thought was cool. You know, we think this summer is going to be a potential massive time in crypto. I mean, every day there's another news headline, but here's one saying South Korea's ruling party vows to approve spot crypto ETFs and scrap restrictive banking rules if reelected in June. Well, if they're like any other politician, you never really know what they want to do, but they're going to tell you whatever you want to hear, but not sure how their government works. But yeah, that'd be awesome if they do. And then here's one I really want to look at, and we're actually going to play the video at the bottom here, but this is regarding 21 Capital, which is basically a Bitcoin investment fund worth billions that Jack Mallers, the Strike founder, will be leading as CEO. But I want to show you something. You know, obviously, look at the players here. Tether, Bitfinex, Cantor Fitzgerald. I hope you know who that is. If you don't, I'm about to show you. And then SoftBank. I hope you know who that is. But check this out. I didn't know this, but Cantor Fitzgerald holds 5% stake in Tether, valued at $600 million. That's pretty good. Howard Lutnick, CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald, has been named Secretary of Commerce under President Trump. So if you watch the news ever, you've seen him speaking in the Oval Office or standing next to Trump as well, in all these meetings they're having. So pay attention there, ladies and gentlemen. They're all connected. So that's all we need to say. Let's see, anything else here? Nope. Let's play this video real fast. It looks like it's we probably won't play that whole thing. We might. It's 4 minutes, and then we may just move on to the charts after this video. Okay.
Idea come to be?
The founding story. So I co-founded the business with Tether. I would say I've known the Tether Group for over a decade. There just weren't that many Bitcoiners around over 10 years ago. So we've done a lot of work together in El Salvador, et cetera. we've been so inspired by Michael Saylor and all of the public companies acquiring Bitcoin. But I would say over the last few years that...
Just so you know, Michael Saylor is the founder of MicroStrategy, which is now Strategy. They now own over 500,000 Bitcoin. So, yes.
Inspiration turned into what we thought was an opportunity and a hole in the market that we could deliver on, which is bringing blue chip credibility and startup upside. We feel like we can bring enough capital and be big enough to win. We're small enough to grow, and most importantly, a pure Bitcoin business. A lot of these companies, they're pivoting from a past operating business. They're rebranding, changing their name. They're maybe selling video games to buy Bitcoin or selling medical equipment to buy Bitcoin.
Right.
And we're a purpose-built Bitcoin company. We're going to build Bitcoin products, Bitcoin cash flow, and we're going to give Bitcoin per share growth to shareholders and be hopefully the best way for investors to get Bitcoin exposure in the public markets.
Jack, I think off camera, just before we started, you used the word vehicle, a vehicle for Bitcoin. I think like a reasonable question that people have is, what does the CEO of a new company whose mission is to accumulate Bitcoin do day to day? Like, what is it that you're going to try and manage or achieve?
Yeah, so for all the Bitcoiners out there, we encourage you to check out our filing. We've introduced two new metrics to the public markets. One is BPS, stands for Bitcoin per share, as opposed to earnings per share. And the other is BRR, which stands for Bitcoin return rate. And my job and what I'm dedicated to do for our shareholders, in which we view similar to our customers, is grow our Bitcoin per share. So we're an operating company, and when you buy a share of 21, in a hypothetical sense, what we intend to do is, let's say our Bitcoin per share is 0.05. Our intent is to be able to grow that to 0.06 Bitcoin per share, 0.07 Bitcoin per share. Where a vehicle like an ETF, your exposure is static. So 21's an operating business, and we will be building Bitcoin products, Bitcoin operative cash flow, and then using the capital markets to accretively grow the Bitcoin on our balance sheet. So we want our...
Yeah, it's pretty much what MicroStrategy's doing. Our strategy's doing with Michael Saylor. He's using debt and equity markets to purchase more Bitcoin. So if you own shares in Strategy, the more Bitcoin they purchase, the more Satoshis that you now have. So it's essentially the same concept. And personally, you know, I don't know Jack Mallers and haven't really followed him as much as Michael Saylor, but I know Michael Saylor will never sell his Bitcoin, which means as he continues to buy and buy and buy, you're getting more Satoshis per share that you own in Strategy. So long term, let's just say you invested enough money to have the equivalent of one Bitcoin. Over time, because he's purchasing Bitcoin, you're leveraging debt and equity strategies, your one Bitcoin is now 2 or 3 Bitcoin. Look that up. It's very special.
Our shareholders to get wealthier, get richer in Bitcoin terms, and our metrics encourage the market to view us not in fiat terms, in Bitcoin terms, because we're not here to necessarily beat the market. We're here to build a new one and encourage the world to adopt Bitcoin in a sense that we believe it hasn't yet.
But Jack, you already have a Bitcoin product, and it's Strike.
Yes.
And it's where people can buy, sell, store their crypto. What happens to that? Are you still going to be leading that business?
Yeah, I'm the CEO of both companies. We're actually disclosing today at Strike some of our financials. So Strike, immensely profitable. We have over 20% EBITDA margin, 85% gross profit margin. We have only 75 employees. So on a gross or net profit per employee basis, we got to be one of, if not, you know, the biggest in the Bitcoin space in that regard. And so it's an incredibly strong business. It's doing well. I'm so proud of the employees and our investors and thankful for our customers. And, you know, Caroline, you can just do things. And I'm going to lead both businesses. I truly believe my purpose on this planet is to try and help Bitcoin have a chance to change the world in what I believe is the right direction.
So crazy. People like this come out and say that here in 2025. There's been people that believed in Bitcoin, invested in Bitcoin in 2010. So, I mean, it's not like this is special. Yeah, they got great partnerships, a lot of money to throw around. But it would have been more special if it was 10 years ago, you know? The true visionaries are not just now coming to the space. Michael Saylor is a true visionary. But can respect this guy. I'm sure it's going to do awesome. But personally, I would rather just own the underlying asset than try to go through some proxy like this. But that's just my opinion and the way I do things. But I'm sure they're going to knock it out of the park.
And I think Strike and 21 both independently work towards that.
Jack, you have plans to raise capital, and I guess not just like as a one-off, over time raise capital, right? How will that work in practice? What mechanisms will you use? And a lot of people that watch the show like ask, if they're not registered institutional investors, like how can they participate in that?
Yes. I thought for a second you were going to offer me some money to buy some Bitcoin.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I'm kidding, man.
Go with my actual question.
No,
yeah.
Totally. So listen, we are hopeful to have our shares listed on a stock exchange under the ticker XXI. Today, we are trading under CEP, which Caroline mentioned is our Cantor Equity Partners, and that stock is trading in live today. If it's successfully merged,
It was a SPAC conversion.
upon closing, it will be XXI. We do intend to raise as much capital as we possibly can to acquire Bitcoin. Again, my one rule to my shareholders is it will be accretive. Our Bitcoin per share will grow. We will never have Bitcoin per share negative. At least that's our intent. Our intent is to make sure that when you're a shareholder of 21, that you're getting wealthier in Bitcoin terms. And that's my job as a CEO to deliver that. So we.
Yeah, I'm sorry. He just intent. You're saying. Yeah, I don't like that, and that's why it's better just to own the underlying asset, because their intent could be one thing, but their actions could be another. So I don't know how anyone could be accepting of that.
We plan on raising capital in all different type of sectors and markets and really blending Bitcoin and incorporating it in the traditional financial system to deliver a powerful equity to the public markets for Bitcoiners.
Is that the selling point versus ETFs? Because you came up with this idea over the course of years. And since that time, there's not just been strategy that you can invest in or block, but you can get spot Bitcoin ETFs.
Yeah.
What's the upside? And in fact, a viewer from Bloomberg's asking, like, how can you have more BIPs than an ETF?
Right. Okay. So I got to be clear. I'm not preaching a future that I can promise. This is hypothetical, and this is our intent. Somewhere my lawyers are like, that's our guy, right? But our intent, Caroline, is that when you buy a share of 21, and let's say that's 0.005 Bitcoin per share, we go out and we intend to close deals, build products, add Bitcoin to our treasury to where in which you get a press release and you say, wow, 21's Bitcoin per share grew from 0.05 to 0.06. I just got more Bitcoin exposure. I got wealthier in Bitcoin terms just by being a shareholder of this company. An ETF.
So yeah, it really comes down to whether you believe the guy or not. But intent's one thing, actions are another. And Michael Saylor has proven his actions. So I prefer that method. Let's see what else we have here. Michael Saylor says when banks adopt Bitcoin, it will go to $1 million. Let's take a look here, and then we'll move on.
Bitcoin. The industry is growing up. It's becoming more secure. It will be accepted by banks. I'll leave it at this thought, which is when your bank tells you they'll buy Bitcoin for you and they'll make it really easy and you can do it on the phone, it'll cost you $1 million Bitcoin. And when your bank calls you on the phone and says, you know, you really ought to buy Bitcoin. It's a digital monetary alternative. And when they recommend it, it'll cost you $10 million of Bitcoin. And right now, no bank's going to recommend it, and they're not going to help you buy it, and you're going to have to jump through hoops, and you're going to feel really nervous about it, but you'll get to buy it around 100,000 or a little bit less than 100,000 of Bitcoin.
And I mean, it's really not that hard, folks. You can go to Coinbase and buy Bitcoin in a matter of minutes. So, but I get his point. Let's see what else we got here. That may be enough for today. Let's go ahead and look at the charts like we promised so we don't make this too long. But again, Bitcoin, 94,590. Since a lot of this was focused on Bitcoin, let's just take a look at our system real fast. Good news is all three hot sensors down here at the bottom are above the midline. Nothing's over exhausted. We're in an uptrend, confirmed uptrend. All three standard deviation lines at the top are above that red zone, which is positive. They just need to stay there. So yeah, this is looking pretty good. All the moving averages are now support. So looks pretty good for Bitcoin. Let's take a look at the alerts. 4 alerts today. All stocks. We'll go through these real fast and see if there's anything worth talking about. First up will be Twitter, or X. I'm sorry, that's US Steel. Sorry. So US Steel. Yeah, this one could be interesting given the current administration's viewpoints and tariffs and kind of their approach to the steel industry. But you can see here on the hot sensor, everything's positive, moving in a good trajectory. Confirmed uptrend. We're just about to convert over to a green uptrend in the cloud. All three lines are at or above the red line, so this is looking pretty good for US Steel. Wouldn't have any problems making a move here. Again, not financial advice, just showing you how we use the system here. We do not own any US Steel. Banking sector, Regions Financial. Let's take a look here at Regions on the SuperSystem. Let's see, actually looking pretty good. We got a crossover on the short-term hot sensor. Medium and long-term, it's gray, so it's not really over-exhausted yet. So, technically this could go lower. However, we got a potential uptrend here on the April 23rd, a confirmed uptrend here on April 29th today. So we'll see. Usually you could, and actually I guess we'll say, if you go back and look at some of our training videos, you'll notice every time we see a yellow signal, we always say 1 to 3 days. So we'll see what happens, see if this thing holds. If it does, then we're looking at these areas of resistance, which are now the moving averages. We do have some crossovers which are definitely negative, but this could be the bottom here. We'll see. We never got a red zone down here on the hot sensors. That's what we're looking for in dark green diamonds. So we don't really have that with this stock. Don't have any region stock. I would probably be holding off on this one just for a moment, just to see if we can get more confirmation and confidence with the move and that confirmed uptrend. So that is Regions Financial. Disclaimer: I used to work for the bank. Do not feel either way as to whether you should or should not invest in that stock. Just interpreting the system itself. Tesla. Okay, interesting here. So Tesla, mean reversion data is looking great. Like we always say, we want that red line to be up in those extremes, with that orange going up through the green zone, the blue approaching that green zone, which is exactly the scenario we want. Perfecto. We got a potential trend reversal with a confirmed. So again, we need 1 to 3 days here to see what happens. We want this red line up top to stay above that red zone. All three hot sensors looking decent. Short term and long term are actually, well, long term is about to cross over. You can see we went from blue, gray to white. We'll get a crossover here. Medium term has a little bit of ways to go. And again, for those that are new, check out the training videos. We just posted the hot sensor training component tonight. It's in our playlist. And that will explain how we use the hot sensors, so check that out. So yeah, 1 to 3 days here. Hot sensors looking decent. Mean reversion looking good. So not too bad there for Tesla, especially if Elon's working toward exiting his role with the Doge. It should help his stock. And like we always say, Tesla's a misunderstood stock anyway. It's not a car company. I'll leave it at that. This stock is misunderstood. We are actively looking to build a position in Tesla. Have not yet, but will be shortly. Last thing, Irene. So let's take a look at Irene here. This one has a little bit more work to do. So this one, we saw the downtrend, we saw the dark green diamonds. However, at that point in time, there was no red. I guess you might have had one potential opportunity here. It was red here, which would have been okay. Definitely lower than it is now, or that was higher than it is now. No additional green diamonds down here at the bottom, but we're also not in the red yet. So this thing could continue lower or it could bounce off the top of this cloud. We are getting a confirmed uptrend signal, so we need that 1 to 3 days to confirm. And we'll see if it's going to bounce up off that top of that cloud or if it's going to break on down and where we might get a hot sensor that's in the red, giving us some opportunity there. Mean reversion data is kind of, like I said, 1 to 3 days here. You got to watch this because it was up in the extremes. It's come back pretty fast. It's right at the top of that red zone. So based on what it does the next 1 to 2 days should really give us the confidence we need here on this one. So those are the 4 alerts we got today. Again, U.S. Steel, Regions, Tesla, Irene. So I hope that was valuable to you. We will be bringing you tomorrow's alerts tomorrow, along with the final and third video in the training series that will be covering the mean reversion components. And then once we do that video, we'll probably release one more final video that encompasses everything in the super system. So it'll be all 3 components: hot sensors, main indicator, and the mean reversion, just so you can see how we leverage the entire system on a given chart, kind of like we're doing tonight. So check out those training videos. We do this for free. In return, we just would prefer you like, share, subscribe to the content. That way we can keep it free. And I can tell you the system does a remarkable job of identifying those areas of opportunity. And I just want to help bring that to you as part of my community. Hopefully it can change your life like it's changing mine. And until next time, best trading, and we'll see you tomorrow. All right. Thank y'all.